Hello, Mr. Mitchell. Okay, so here we go. Well, it's had some water inside. The dial did that thing where it didn't turn black, thankfully. It just got this like puffy stuff on it. That does happen. You can see that the moisture also sat on the top of the handset and pulled copper out of the alloy of the hands. But the loom itself is okay. I don't know how much of that I'm going to be able to save. We'll see what happens. I don't know what the metal's going to look like under there. Case is nice. This is a nice watch. And I love the slate ghosting on the insert. That's really nice. Yeah, and God, it's amazing. This watch must have been almost new. Must have been almost brand new in condition before the water got in. Look at the case back. Yow. Yikes. Yikes it, yoinks it doinks. That's really nice. Sorry for the yelling and screaming. As all the kids are home, so Sadie is busy gaming. No servicing marks inside the case back. Still some elasticity to this, which is nice because if that's original, that means that the watch sat for a long time in some place that had not a lot of oxygen. The barrel is tight, so it's carrying power, but it won't run. This is the usual point of entry for moistures, these old sealed crowns, but we'll open that and we'll see what we can find. But this doesn't look like it had any moisture in here, because that spring will rust up like crazy the second we get that in. I would have to... The water migrated up to the top. I'll run this thing around to the point that I can get my thingy boo on it. Okay. Let's get that handset off of there. Like, the dial surface is nice. You've got some patina marking on the applied logo, but I typically can improve that. So I'm not entirely sure how this handset's gonna turn out, but I have a process that I will follow for cleaning the metal, and we'll see how the loom goes. Sometimes though, when the loom is that damaged, I find that it just disintegrates. So, but we'll see. We shall see. Hang on. Four. April 74. April 74. Yeah, because the case back is May 74. It's a month ahead, and so that's correct. I want to do something since I'm here. I want to pull this off. I wonder if that ball's going to come popping out. Ooh, he sure did. There it is. Show enough. there is your click ball. Right there. There's your click ball. And that popped right out. And that happens. Because these were just crimped into the case, and the crimp was very light. And they often will just wear out. There's your spring. So, I mean, that can go back together. I don't have a way to permanently affix that back into the case, but that's okay. Oh boy, that's nice and tight. I like that. We got some corrosion on there. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I can actually even see. I can see inside where the moisture got through. It got through on this side, right over here. That's what there's your problem. You can, yeah, hang on. See it right there. Right there. Water got in right through this spot right there. Yep, there it is. There it is. It got underneath it. There's your problem. Okay, well, I'm going to have some corrosion remediation to get this fixed up. Wow, yeah, water snuck in right under there. So I'll have some hand cleaning chemicals and corrosion stuff to deal with. Your pip is still in place. You can see the loom just fell out. I'll replace that loom because I have original old Seiko loom. It's a good thing to use. Would you get out? Look at that. That's when you know it's good. And the seals come out in pieces. And I will, when I'm reconstructing the loom on this pip, I will gather up as much of the original loom in here as I can. There's not much really in there. I'll worry about that later. Okay. Hang on. I do note, by the way, that water also tried to get in through the crown. You can see it right here. A little bit of pooling corrosion right around there, and then it started to run around on the threads. So, thankfully, so what we can say is, it could have been worse. Come on, would you stop fighting me? There we go. Excellent. So I'm going to have to clear a spot, and I will go over that case and crystal ring and all that other kind of stuff. I will do that carefully. We will dig all that junk out of there. You gots to. You cannot rely on the machine doing all the work. Absolutely cannot. It's always interesting. This is one of the flat-sided ones in terms of how the plate edges are done versus the ones that have the bevel. I've never understood the difference. You see it in all the 6000 series with the exception of the 6309s and 6306s. Like 6119, 6106, 6105, all do it. Thankfully, that water did not do anything that I can see to the movement. The one thing that will be questioned is whether or not it got to the pinion of the fourth wheel. And that's something I do see in situations like this. Okay. Oh yeah, usual thing. Oh, look at that thing wiggle. Okay, so lower mainspring arbor board's blown, but we knew that. We were certainly expecting that, weren't we? Okay, let's keep on keeping on. What'd you get out of there? Okay. Check that. Okay, come on. There we go. There we go. You sit right there. You think about what you've done. Okay, let's see. Let's look at the faces of those stones. Hey, they look clean. Pretty good. Look at that. So now, wow, it does not want to turn, boy. Ooh. I bet you the pinion of that fourth wheel and maybe the cannon pinion might be seized in place pretty solid. So let's find out, huh? Let's find out together. Anyway, so my issue with the Deadpool movies, as much as I love them, is that they Ryan Reynolds somehow managed to take a character that is canonically insane and make him just sort of mouthy, but not insane. So I'm still not sure how I feel about that. He's supposed to be nuts, like barely able to hold on to sanity. Got some stuff on here. I'll clean this off and I'll look at that. But it's, you can definitely tell that bushing is worn to the brass on that one. So, okay, so here's the big question. Here's the big question. Oops. Oh, would you stop it? Ooh, thank goodness, that looks pretty clean. That's pretty nice. Okay. Oh, gosh darn it. A little bit of rust on that pinion, but like just on the surface, tiny amount. That's clean. Here's your hacking lever. Handy dandy hacking lever. I need to put blocking marks on this thing so I know where the watch is supposed to be. Let's see. No, I have not bought a new camera yet. Or camera stand, I should say. That's pretty shiny. Alright, let's see the goodness. Yeah, well, pretty typical, not disastrous. I mean, it is what it is. Let's look inside the barrel. Gosh, I've seen far worse. That's not bad looking at all. That's not bad looking at all. So I gotta flip this. Okay, so one last thing before we get serious cleaning with a 6105. Here's your stem. this is the cap washer that keeps the seal in there to go through a process to open that, but it is open. And then we see, there's that. There's the original. Get out of there. Yeah, look at your seal is just it's like plastic now. Used to be rubber, sure isn't anymore. Okay, well, I gotta get serious and get that thing apart. And there it is, all apart. These are the components that make up a Seiko 6105 crown. That's the little stepped washer, it goes underneath, and then your seal goes on top of that, and then you've got this little washer diddly in there, and all that goes in there. There it is. We got it apart. Now we can put a new seal in it, and after it's cleaned, and get it together. Okay, I have everything out of the cleaner. It is tomorrow, because this one got started late, so I am looking at it now. I also I spent a lot of time working on your handset. Your dial came out beautifully. Look at how well when you blow up the stuff. Look at how beautifully your dial came out. The nice bright Seiko. That looks awesome. Your handset is in pretty rough. I've seen worse, obviously. The loom cleaned up okay, but the plating is pretty damaged. So I'm still working on these. I've actually been working on these hands for a couple of hours, honestly, because what I do is very slow, and I want to make sure that nothing gets damaged if I can avoid it. So I'm still working on this, but I'm gonna wake up and get serious and put this movement together and get this thing running, and then I'll go back to the handset and deal with that. Okay, so finally getting some movement going. Look at this. I swear I cleaned that. I always like to isolate elements just to check things. And I can look. We can look at the balance. Going through this, it takes a little bit more time, but it isolates any potential issues before we even start. Now comes the time when we test the wheels. I like to do them individually, just like I like to do the balance individually, so that we get a clear idea of what we are doing. Hang on a second. So, get in there. So I don't have any lubrication in there. I'm just I'm putting it in because I want to see how it sits, how it sets, how the spin is, if I've got end shake or any of that stuff. That looks pretty tight. Not a lot of whapping around. Yeah. It's not spinning a lot because we don't have lubrication in there, but that's perfectly fine. Take that off of there. About that. I've found, you can just go for it and like put the thing together and see how it goes. I have found, especially with 6000 series, that if I take just a little bit more time and go through this process, it really does save me in the end. Sure, I might not need it a lot of times, but it just makes things easier. Ooh, wow. That is slopping around. See, that's why we do this. I've got some real action going on there. And it's like, the thing I always have to remember is you only cure one problem at a time. Don't try to do multiples. Yeah. It moved around, so I've got to drop that bushing ever so slightly. And since I'm here, might as well test this one. Center wheel. Because this is the one that almost always is out of spec. Wow. Look at that thing flopping around. Do you see it? It's not only going up and down, it's going sideways. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that center post right there.
Is it broken?
No, it's not broken. It's just really worn. Both of these are worn. And so I check each wheel individually so that I can isolate basically where the problem is. So I know what I'm looking at. So that I'm going to have to probably turn this to it. I'm probably have to replace this with a jewel. And this one has too much.
Was there a jewel there to begin with?
No. This is what the 6105s look like. Jewel, bushing. So that one just needs to be dropped down. This one is all kinds of sloppy. So that's going to become a jewel. And that's what I got to do. And then I'll go back through and check it again. I dropped this thing down a few thousandths, however you say that. And now it's good. It's actually it's right on the edge of being a little tight, but it's not. So it's actually, I dropped it just about as far as I could. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in, and that is going to become a jewel. Okay, so this is, I have the jewel. I'm just checking it, just seeing, before I go to the trouble of putting it in there, seeing what kind of slop we've gotten. We don't have any. Nice thing about a jewel. So now I'm going to drop it in. So I've dropped the jewel in, and now we're going to see if it behaves. See if I did it right. Aren't you just, it's one of these things, I don't want to take a few seconds and take that screw out. If I did, this wouldn't take as long. Okay, look at that. Huh? Let's see if it behaves. Well, I'll tell you, it spins nicely. Sorry, you can't really see this. But trust me, it's an improvement. Let me just check to make sure the lash is where it needs to be. Oh no, I gotta drop that a lot. Okay, dropped it down 5/1000ths using my handy dandy Zeitz diddly. And it is still flopping around, so I guess I can drop this. Sure, I bet you I'm going to have to drop another 10,000s, but I'll just drop it 5 and we'll check. See, I should just take that off. If I'd taken it off, I wouldn't be fooling with it right now. There we go. Yeah, I was right. I think another 5,000ths and that'll be okay. Just checking one more thing. Okay, let's see. Watch me fight with this click spring again. Click and spring is what they call it. Wink. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and lube the jewels, and then we'll drop the train together and we'll see how it behaves. Okay, so train is assembled, mainspring assembled. You got nice clearance on the wheels there. Okay, cool. I want to get the cannon pinion on the other side. Then I'm going to flip this back over. I'll put the pallet fork on and the balance, and we'll see what it looks like. Because I always want to, whenever I change this kind of stuff around, I don't want to have to fool with having to take the calendar stuff apart again. So I always start with just the train when I do this kind of work. Okay, the time. The moment has come. So the train is together. I only have, on the calendar side, all I have is the cannon pinion. So the rest of it is, all we're going to be seeing here is just the train. Which is pretty necessary, because there's nothing more frustrating if you run into a problem. You're like, well, is it the gears, the train? How much do I have to take apart before I figure out what the issue was? That's why you want to check this stuff before you put it together. Come on, stop fighting me. You got a clearance thing going on there. Not quite sure what's up with that. You always want to be careful when you're dropping those things. I have in the past. You think you've got it dropped in, but it's not, and it's slightly off, and you drop that thing and you snap a pivot. I haven't done it in a very long time, but I have done it. And that's just no fun. Well, I guess let's look at the numbers. I got no idea what we're going to find. Absolutely none. Well, a little bit of beat error, climbing to touch. Okay, so let's adjust out that beat error. Sorry, as usual, I can't show you guys this stuff. Getting there. No, I went too far. Okay. Okay, that's a pretty good rough dial in. Okay, I'm going to get back to thinking about the loom on these hands, and I'll let this run in and think its thoughts. Okay, while I'm waiting for the numbers to improve, well, I mean, I'm basically waiting for the movement to run in. It is time to do the next thing, which is to rebuild the crown. So there's the original crown. Everything's all clean and open inside. And that's the little spacer blocky diddly thing, and that goes right in here. Not sure why they did that. Sometimes they didn't. I've seen a few crowns that are solid inside, but I don't know. There's some reason for it. I don't know what that reason might have been. Maybe ease of manufacture. I bet that's it. Oh, would you stop fighting me? I've got this edge in here. I'm going to drop that in there, and I've dropped the new gasket in place. You can see that in there. There's the brand new. It's a custom gasket made in the United States, by the way. So now I've got to cone this out and be able to drop it in and click it in and then flatten it and then get the outer ridge settled back down, and this should hopefully look like absolutely nothing happened. And that's our goal. And there it is. All sealed up and closed and everything, and I'd like to think that unless you really knew what to look for, you wouldn't be able to tell that this had been opened and rebuilt at all. That's what we want. Okay, more than yet another hour working on the loom. I'm getting there, but we're going to have some decisions to make. In the meantime, here's your case. It's completely clean. It does have some, remember the water got in. You can actually see a little bit of pitting right there, right in the sealing surface, and some under here as well. So this is, I mean, this sealing surface is okay. Remember, it's an L gasket, so you've got to get it here and here. There's nothing that goes all the way through the bottom part of the L gasket, but this is definitely its pitting in here. So you're going to want to, don't treat this as though it's anything other than water absorbent. You've got some pitting in here as well. This is the crystal retaining ring. This isn't a sealing surface. This is just, it just holds the crystal down in place. You need to just be aware of it. I've gone over this several times with chemicals and dental tools and other cleaners to get the corrosion out, and everything back in there has been converted to a different kind of iron oxide, so you don't need to worry about that continuing, but you need to be aware that you've got pitting in your sealing surfaces here. See it there, bump, 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 and there. And the real big one is right there. That's the serious one. And some of it actually goes over the top. You can actually see it. It's right there. Okay. Well, but at the same time, generally speaking, it's okay. Just don't take it snorkeling. On to the next unusual challenge. Your locking pin for the crown. This watch has something I can't ever remember seeing before. It has two locking pins, or it did. One locking pin is here, and it looks like it was bad or in the wrong place or something because it's off. Then the next locking pin was put up here, but this one rusted out completely, along with all the other pitting and stuff that we saw. So I used an incredibly tiny brooch in my Dremel, and I opened this up. I opened this hole up. So what I'm going to try to do, since this almost never happens, where this opens up. Normally when the pin is gone, you're done. So what I'm going to do is I have a piece of, I don't know that I have stainless, but I certainly have, I have blued pivot stock for this. So I'm going to try that and see if I can get this thing to lock. Wouldn't that be neat? Just so you're aware, you have some pitting also inside your rotating ring. It's not deadly. You just need to know that it might not turn quite as smoothly as you would like, but it is what it is. Okay, working on that now. I had to machine down a section of stainless steel that I had. And so that's in there just for depthing, and now I'm going to pull it back out and cut it off right there. And then I should be able to sink it in, and because it's a friction fit, it'll stay there, and I don't have to use adhesive or anything. But that's how we do it. I don't get to do this kind of thing very often, but it's nice having a challenge. It's in there just rough. I haven't seated it really, but you can see it. I've got to clean all that stuff up, but you also have some pitting in there. But anyway, I've got to sit that down a little harder, but let's get that crown in there. Holy cow, it locks. There you go. My dad used to say that a huge percentage of life, he had an actual number, I don't remember what. He said a big measure of, he said most of life is problem solving. So there you go. There was some problem solving. Woo! Well, there it is. All of its glory. Okay. So, you see that it hacks properly. So what I've done, it's all original. That's all original. It's your original loom, your original hands. This was the biggest challenge, really, was trying to get these hands clean. Because you remember, it had all this black stuff around here. And it's still there. There's some discoloration inside the loom, and the surfaces, the hands themselves, have some pitting around the window. But they're original. They're original to this watch. So, but if you decide that you don't like this, I do have options. I have genuine used hands that I stripped out the loom, then I reloomed with my Vintaloom that would match this dial, and they're in better condition. But obviously they've been reloomed and they're not original to this watch. Dial came out great. Really nice. That is my Vintaloom up there. Uh-oh, a cat. But there it is. It's a lovely watch. Crown locks, as it should. There it is. And that was a fun little thing to do. And that's about it. All your stuff is in here, right in there, crystal and everything else like that, and you're good to go. You let me know if you want to do something about these hands. Me, I'd leave it because it's original, but that's me. So, but I'm erring on that side. If you want to make it look if you want to change that hand setup, let me know, because we can certainly set that up. We can arrange something. But I wanted to give you the option first of Milo, of all original. Okay, thank you so much. I forgot one thing, something to be aware of. The corrosion underneath the rotating ring also hit the lip that holds that ring in place. So just be careful. This is a little loose. It doesn't, in the sense that it doesn't sit down right hard against the case. It's perfectly fine. It's not going to pop off. It's just one of those things. And there it is. Okay, I realized I hadn't told you that. Okay, you let me know about the handset, but other than that, it's ready to go.